I'm Dane with Legacy Woodworking Machinery. This project we're going to do the wainscot, and the first class is going to be on the pilasters. Instead of using double-sided tape and turning two sections, we're going to be using the pilaster mounting dog and turning four sections, creating a fluted pilaster. In the pilaster mounting dog set, you get various sizes, creating different size pilasters. Our first process is we're going to turn this column round by using the surface planing bit. Now to set our plunge depth, we're going to set the surface of the router bit on the surface of the wood. Now with our pilasters, we want to set our stops so we don't run into any steel components. With my plunge depth set, my two stops in place, let's go ahead and turn this round. I'm going to make a series of test cuts to get the exact diameter. Now let's take a closer look of what we've done. With the pilaster dogs, you're able to turn an odd amount of pilasters. On this design, we're going to use the core box bit to create our flutes. In creating a flute, we want to make them so they're perfectly aligned on the pilaster. So we're going to be using the V-groove bit. And what we're going to do is put the V-groove bit right in the middle of where it touches the two parts together. Now with the double locking collar, what we're able to do is loosen one cap screw, and we're able to make micro adjustments and then tighten it back down so we're aligned perfectly. Now let's change our router bit to the core box bit and set our plunge depth by touching the surface of the bit to the surface of the wood. Now that our core box bit is touching the surface of the wood, zero it out and go down to 0.095. We reset our stops on our x-axis for 2 and 31.5. On our index plate, we're going to go every hole to create our flutes. You can quickly and easily, and it's fun, to make pilasters on the mounting dogs. Now all we have to do is cut to length. We can put them on the wall. We're going to be using our rotary table to cut our next components, the index rosette. We've already gone ahead and cut our blocks to 4 1/8 square. We're going to be using double-sided tape to attach to our rotary table. We've gone ahead and mounted 2 waste blocks so we can quickly reference the rosette to the center of the rotary table. The 2 router bits we use to mill the rosette is the brick molding bit and the 3/4 inch core box bit. We've referenced our rotary table to 55 on the x-axis. We have our brick molding in. Now let's set our plunge depth. Drop the shoulder of the router bit till it touches the surface of the wood. Set your stop on your Z-axis And along our x-axis, we're going to set a stop at 57. Be sure that your y-axis is on center. Start off of the rosette. We're going to be making multiple passes while turning the rotary table. With our first detail completed, now let's change our router bit to the 3/4 inch core box bit. Of course, there's different kind of styles of rosettes that you can make. Now let's take a close-up look at the style we chose. We've started just 1/8 of an inch off center, moved out 1 inch, back to 1/8 inch, turned the rotary table a half a turn, and repeated the process. Now let's set our stops. On our y-axis, we set our first stop at 1/8 of an inch and our second stop at 1 1/8 inches. Now on our x-axis, we want to be dead center at 55 and lock your split nut down. Now our last step is to set our plunge depth. Remember to touch the tip of the router bit to the surface of the wood. After referencing the tip of the router bit to the surface of your wood, set your z-axis at 0.1875 or a plunge router at 3/16 of an inch. Now that this one is complete, let's pop it off and replace it with a new blank. We started out with our brick molding bit and milled out the outside detail and then went to our flutes. Now we're on our second blank. It makes sense to start out with our flutes and then go to our brick molding bit.